have been so fortunate to do some amazing work with Dr. Eric Soto-Shedd from Harvard, and he introduced me to this awesome resource from UC Berkeley, and thinking about, how we structure discourse, particularly around high emotion topics. So we're going to dive into this resource set from UC Berkeley and look at deliberative discourse. Here we go.
Berkeley's Integrated Action Civics Project. There's actually a lot of different things on this page that I love around stakeholder analysis and different strategies, but we're going to go right here. So deliberative discourse, when we think about different stakeholders having different stances or views on an issue or problem, like how do we do that in a way where we can maintain a stance of curiosity as well as empathy? And so there's a bunch of resources here. If you click the plus button next to use this strategy, there's some overview and instructions. We can go through that now. There's also student handouts, table 10s. There are a bunch of guides and some materials around like model discourses. So I also want to kind of just name here, there's a lot of different connections and extensions such as SACS, which Dr. Eric Soto-Shedd has also taught me about. And so thinking about structured academic conversations is really cool. A bunch of other things down here. But I just want to go here for right now. And let's click into this. So this is the protocol. So we have kind of an overview where we frame the issue and state the question. And then we agree about what are the uncontested facts. And we can identify contested facts here. I think that's really, really helpful. Then we start with a personal connection immediately afterwards. I love this so much. And so there's an individual option to kind of journal, think about, and then share in kind of a small group for 10 minutes. How has it affected you personally? Can be kept private. And then thinking about like the personal concerns you have, how you've come to hold the views that you have. I also like the idea here of potentially getting into values, what values or basic human needs are coming up for you as you draw these personal connections and think about how you kind of came to this. Then we're going to kind of World Cafe style go ahead and explore each stakeholder's position and analyze kind of the consequences and benefits from that perspective, right? How would they be impacted, this particular stakeholder, positively and negatively by the issue or proposal? And could there be actually a better solution from this particular perspectives? And so they're going to go ahead and complete an organizer as they do this. They're going to summarize and reflect 3 perspectives. And then we're going to have a whole group discussion, which is going to be teacher-led. I would even consider this could be student-led, but for this protocol says teacher-led. So here we go. Depending on the topic and dynamics, right, you can structure it in different ways. I do think that is important to consider this dynamics and the proximity. I really appreciate this, which is adapted from Dr. Soto-Shedd and thinking about kind of like how divisive the issue is. So if it is very, students are very implicated, it's very divisive, it is kind of charged in his words, we might do some independent journaling, right? They're really just doing a lot of reflection, all the way down to green, not as charged. Now we can even engage in potentially something like a debate because we're not debating anyone's humanity. And so I think about this as kind of like the how much someone's individual like humanity, dignity, kind of their personhood and lived experience is implicated. There are things that are green that like, yes, their personhood is implicated in experience, but on such a far removed, it's like so many levels removed that like, I think Dr. Soto-Shedd's example usually for this is the electoral college. Like, yes, it will actually impact, it could very well impact who is president and thus like what policies are in effect. And that is drastically going to affect people's lives. But it feels so removed. It's not like a direct kind of implication on someone's personhood. Okay, anyways, sorry. So back to kind of after the whole group discussion, then we go back to a personal reflection. Has your thinking changed? If so, how, right? How's your thinking just about other people's views changed? Again, I think this values connection can be really powerful here. And how did you or did you, I guess, deeply and honestly grapple with the costs and consequences of the approach? Then we do a whole group reflection. Like, how do we do as a group, right? What is remaining to talk about? And process-wise, like, how did it approach your thinking? Like, did we do well from a process lens? Where do we go from here?
Lots to love. There's so many resources. We just clicked into one of those, but lots to love. I think there is such beauty in kind of the groundwork framed in the kind of the bordering on like, we're not putting dignity up for debate. We're agreeing upon the facts straight up at the beginning. And then there's a lot of like individual reflection. And I love Dr. Soto-Shedd's matrix kind of at the bottom with the color coding to help determine kind of how you would structure the conversation as well. But I love that there's kind of the personal, there's a structured way to seek to understand, there's kind of coming back as a group, there's then going back to the person, and there's coming back to the group again to discuss process and next steps. Super cool. Going to link to that. And so you can get all of those resources there in the description. I'm also going to go ahead and link to a free set of resources around discussion protocols that I have used in the classroom.